Welcome to week 32 of my Monjaro journey. My name is Ginger, and this is my channel Ginger Goes GLP1. And today I want to talk about the 5 things that I try and do daily to try and stay on top of my mental health, my physical health, my overall well-being, where I want to go, what I want to achieve, what I want to eat, all different kinds of things. So it's not the standard list that some people do, but it's the things that work well for me. It's the things that I try and incorporate in my everyday to make sure that I'm having sort of as good a day as I can, to try and avoid additional stresses in my life that will maybe send me a curveball and send me off the path that I want to stay on, and really just to focus on the long term, because I don't know about you, but when I lose this weight, I don't want to put it back on again. So for me, the number one thing for me, for the 5 things that I do every day, and it's the top priority for me, and it's not what you think it's going to be. Sleep. I need sleep. I've reached an age now where I know that I function best on 8 hours sleep, minimum 8 hours sleep. I can get by on 5 hours. I can get by on 4 hours. I can get by on 6 hours to function and to do everything the way I want it to do, for my life to be as smooth as it can be, to remain calm, focused, driven at work, or just balanced within my life. I know I need sleep. And if you've been following my journey, you will know that sleep has been a big issue for me, or tiredness and exhaustion. So, one of my main Manjaro symptoms is exhaustion, tiredness, sort of a lack of sleep. I do wake up in the middle of the night very often, obviously, because we're drinking so much water. But I've learned now, I've reached a pretty balanced place with my sleep now, I would say, and I am getting adequate sleep. It's never really impacted me too much during the day, but I know that, like, overall it has caused me to go off track a little bit sometimes, just because I'm so tired and I can't be bothered, or I don't want to do something because I'm just so exhausted. That does seem to have calmed down now. So if you are starting Manjaro, or you're on Manjaro, and the sleep or exhaustion or tiredness is something that you're struggling with, I would say put sleep at the top of your priority list. Put it over other things that you might think are important, like food, hydration, exercise. Because if you can get your sleep in order, and you're not starting each day exhausted and run down and tired, it is ultimately going to help you make better decisions throughout the day around food and hydration and exercise. So for me, my number one is sleep. Number two is planning my day. So I try not to let my day just happen. I try not to let it be just an accidental um, accumulation of events during the day. I try and plan out my day. And so I know where I'm going. I want to have a rough plan of what I want to do. That includes what I'm eating in a day, what time I'm waking up, work tasks that I have to do, um, anything that I have to do, like, go to the post office or make a phone call. I'll try and write it down. I'm a big list maker, and I keep a paper diary. I know I'm that old. I'm a bit of a dinosaur. I keep a paper diary and I write things down in my diary. Just seeing it visually and having it open on my desk gives me kind of an idea of what I want to do, when I need to do it, etc. And I also plan things like if I'm going to have a bit of fun, or if I'm going to watch a movie. So I'll try and, plan for a time when I'm done with all of my daily tasks. So obviously, work, dinner, doing the dishes, tidying up, getting ready for bed, or, having spoken to friends or whatever. I'll try and set myself a time that I want to start a movie by, or a box set, or if I'm reading my book or something like that. So I plan the good, the bad, everything. I try and get it all down on the list, so that I'm 55, but do you know what? I'm still guilty of, like, if I go on social media, I can get sucked in. When I think of the times I used to say to my daughter, put that laptop down or step away from your phone, or and I'm just as bad these days. If I go on Instagram or YouTube or whatever, I can get sucked into anything, you know. So I try and plan my day. I prioritize, you know, the important tasks. I do allow a little bit of time for fun. You know, what will I enjoy, or am I due to call a friend, or things like that. I think prioritizing for me is important because I know I can let my day slip, and I need to be busy. I need to feel like I've achieved something at the end of the day, because I know it improves my mental health to know that I've, like, you know, done tick box exercises that I can say, yeah, I've done 5 things today, or I've done 10 things today, or I achieved all of my goals. I'm not rigid. I'm not like, oh, I can't go to bed until I've done X, Y, and Z, but it gives me a plan for my day. And like I said, including what I'm eating the next day. Like, do I need to take something out of the freezer? I'm not perfect 100% of the time. Nobody is. But if you've got a plan, it kind of gives you an idea of where you're going and what you need to do. So that would be number 2, is planning my day. I don't let it just happen by accident. Third one, and you might be surprised that it's third and not number 1, is food. So we are all on this weight loss journey, and a big part of that weight loss journey is what we're putting in our mouths. You know, obviously, if we're still eating, like, you know, 2,500, 3,000, 5,000 calories a day, which is really hard to do for a lot of people on Manjaro, then we're not going to lose the weight, or as much weight as we hope to lose. So I do plan my day, or plan my food, around a couple of basics. So I always aim for 120 grams of protein. That's for me. That's what I know works well for me. I can easily reach that in a day. Sort of on the not diet. That's an old word. That's a word that we kind of use, um, just historically, isn't it? I would say, my eating plan, for want of a better word, my eating plan, I fit in 120 grams, and I know I can do that with a protein shake, quite a lot of eggs and chicken, or some beef. And then I usually also have a protein water. That's what I choose to do. And that sets my protein goal of 120 grams, and that hits it within the day, and then I can make adjustments if I want something different, obviously. Hydration along with that, so food, hydration. I do drink 2 liters of water every day. That's my bare minimum. But I do space it out through the day. The reason I say space throughout the day is you can actually give yourself something called water intoxication, where you drink too much water and you dilute all of the uh, electrolytes and chemicals and things in your body, in your bloodstream. So you don't want to just, like, oh, I haven't drunk enough water today, and drink 2 liters all at once, or 3 liters all at once. So that's why I just say space it out through the day. So that's why I always keep saying that, because it is quite easy to do. Um, if I'm having a treat, that's the other thing I want to say around food, is I allow myself treats. Treats are part of, the process for me. So I've given myself permission, you know, to have, like, a treat every now and again. I'm not doing it every day, and I'm not doing it to excess like I used to do. I used to every day have, like, crisps and chocolate and cookies and, you know, all kinds of things every day. It wasn't a treat, it was just a daily thing I did, which was just like too much calories, excess calories all the time. But I don't want to give them up forever. I'm not going to go, I'm swearing off chocolate for the rest of my life. I'm not that virtuous. I know I'm going to want to have some, or going to want to celebrate something. So I allow myself treats, uh, potentially every day, but actually it works out more like 2 times a week, maybe 3 times a week. But so I didn't have anything yesterday. Yesterday was Tuesday. Yeah, I didn't have anything yesterday. I just had my dinner and, finished up whatever. And then I went to bed later and that was it. I didn't think about having something. Whereas before, it was part of my daily routine to eat loads of food, sitting on the couch watching Netflix. I don't tend to do that now. So, but yeah, I do work them in. I count them in my calories if I have them, and and if my calories are down, I will maybe choose to have a treat. I usually go for more protein if my calories are down, but if I know I've got space, then I'll allow myself something extra. If I'm having a very low hunger day, for example, on shot day or the couple of days after it, I prioritize protein over everything. So when it comes to the food aspect, I recognize that I'm not going to be able to eat as much as I want. So I kind of like push the vegetables, maybe, or the carbohydrates, or fluid to the like excess fluid to the side, and I focus on protein. I try and get in my 120 grams of protein, just to make sure that I'm sort of hitting that target, because I don't want to suffer from massive muscle wastage. Obviously, you do lose muscle on any weight loss program. You do. Um, Potentially with a GLP-1, there is the chance that you may lose a little bit more because you're not eating as much and you're um I don't know, not exercising, but there is maybe evidence weighing up that you are going to lose a little bit more muscle mass than on a regular diet. But again, that's why you want to sort of start thinking about exercise at some point when you start to feel better and you've got your routine down a little bit with what you're eating, what you're drinking, when your hunger is, your sleep schedule. Start thinking about incorporating exercise, and particularly strength training over any cardio, I would say. uh, I want to make each day on Manjaro count. So I want to, like I said in the beginning, I want to make this my last weight loss journey. I want to learn as I go. So I've got Manjaro doing some of the heavy lifting for me in terms of the food noise, hunger suppression, um, you know, giving me that break in between my thoughts to allow me time to make better decisions. But those better decisions, I want them to be long term better decisions. I want to be able to learn what's good for me, learn what works for me, learn what my food tolerance level is, what my food capacity is, and build healthy habits around that. I don't want to lose like 7 stone and then go, oh gosh, actually, if I stop this, I don't know if I've learnt anything along the way. So every day is a learning day for me. Every day is a day I want to maximize my opportunity to um, use Manjaro as a tool to help me lose weight, but also to allow me that space in between the thoughts to make better decisions, to plan better, not to just be unconscious and always thinking about food, if that makes sense. So I'm trying to adjust my brain, I'm trying to adjust my eating, I'm trying to adjust the foods that I eat on a day to day basis, and to recognize what real hunger is and when I need to act on it and when I can go, do you know what? I'm actually not that hungry. I'm not going to eat that. So maximizing every day for me, making it count. It's not a quick fix. This isn't a race to the finish line. This isn't who can lose the most weight the quickest. It's your own individual journey. And hands up, I am as guilty as anybody of comparing myself to others, and oh, this one's lost this much weight, and oh, that person's doing so much better than I am, or they look better, or they're doing more exercise. Really, really, really bring the focus back to you. You're the only person that this matters to. Make you the priority, make what you're doing the priority. Stop comparing yourself to others. I know that sounds ridiculous coming from me, the queen of comparison. But yeah, really do make each day count and focus on what you're doing for yourself today that's better than yesterday to help you get to the goal that you want to go to. I've got some notes down here. Learn from other Manjaro creators. So I'm always looking at other people and thinking, what are they following? What are they doing? Are they doing something I can pick up? Not for comparison, but just to see, have they got tips and tricks? Is there something that they're doing? Do they have a better attitude to me? That are they doing an exercise that I might like? So I started doing the rebounding, and I absolutely love that. That's a mini trampoline, if you don't know. I absolutely love that. I just stumbled on a video of it, and I thought that would help me. I bought one, I try it, I love it. So look to other people to see what they're doing, not to compare yourself, but just to see, can you learn any tips, tricks, hints from them? Another thing I do every day as part of this making each day count is every morning when I wake up, one of the first things I do is I go outside and I get sunlight or daylight into my eyes as early as I possibly can. So if I wake up at 6:15, 6:30, I go outside, I get light in my eyes while the kettle's boiling for my coffee. Um, so I try and get that daily in because that helps to set my circadian rhythm. It sets me up for the day. I also cold shower every day. I don't know if I've ever said that before, but I do. I've been doing it for at least 5 years now. So if I have a hot shower to wash my hair, then I finish it with cold. If I'm just washing myself for the day, I will wash myself with cold water, obviously still soap and stuff like that. But yeah, so I have a cold shower every day. I feel that benefits me. You can do your own research if you want to do it, but I'm just giving you an idea of the things that are important to me on a day-to-day basis. And exercise is another one of those things. So I don't exercise every day. I'm not going to lie. I'm telling you the truth. I exercise maybe 3 days a week, 4 days a week. But what I do try and do every single day is do some kind of movement or positive action, whether that is tidying the house, like vacuuming, or going out and doing a bit of gardening, a bit of weeding, mowing the lawn. So I had 30-minute lunch break today. I went out and I mowed the lawn today. So only the back garden. But I got that done today. So that's kind of like, that's a sense of achievement again. So I'm making each day count. I'm doing something. So I feel really satisfied that I've done something today. I've achieved something today, apart from just the routine. I also try and reflect at the end of the day of what could I have done differently. So if I have had a stressful day and, for example, I've eaten unconsciously, not to the point of excess, but like where because I have found, old habits die hard. I have found myself at times, looking in cupboards for something or unconsciously eating half a protein bar when I'm actually not hungry. Um, I'm just I'm just looking for a way to manage that. So I will reflect on that, and I'm not beating myself up over it, but I will reflect on that at the end of the day. What could I have done differently? I probably could have eaten that protein bar more mindfully. I could have sat down with a cup of tea and thoroughly enjoyed it rather than using it to manage an emotion that I wasn't even aware was there at the time, because food is not the answer to our emotions. It used to be, but we're trying to get away from that. That goes back to the making each day count, planning your day, and things like that. So, another thing for my last point, so like my fifth point, I would say, is keep it simple. Don't try and do all the things. And especially if you're new to Manjaro, if you're just starting Manjaro, I would say the only things you need to focus on: getting enough sleep, getting enough protein, getting enough hydration. Don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about the exercise. Don't worry about what other people are doing. It might be that the first few weeks to a month, all you need to focus on is, like I said, prioritizing, protein, healthy food, focus on your water, and focus on your sleep, because it is a huge change to a lot of us. It's a huge impact on the system. And if you're anything like me, you could potentially lose a lot of weight the first month. And that can be quite tiring, quite stressful on the body. So keep it really simple. I set myself goals for the day. I make a plan for the day, but I'm not like some David Goggins following guy who's like, I'm going to do this no matter what. I must do this, because I know myself well enough to know if I set myself up with these, I must do this, otherwise I can't go to bed. You know, I'm not that person. I'm not that high achiever, high demand, won't quit until I'm finished. That doesn't work for me. That's the absolute guarantee failure for me if I set myself up for things like that. I make a plan, I try and stick to it. If I don't, because, let's face it, life happens, we're tired. Um, Somebody comes around, looking for support from you or whatever, you do change your day. And so I don't want to be up at midnight trying to achieve my tick list, because I've got to do it, otherwise I'm a failure. Do what works for you. If that attitude of like, I'm going to do all of these things in a day, I refuse to fail, I refuse to let things go, if that works for you, and it does for quite a lot of people, go for it. But for me, that's a recipe for disaster. I just get bitter, resentful, cynical. What's the point? And I know it's not a good way to approach it for me. I will try and do the things I know are going to fill me up. And some of those things will be on my list, some of those things won't be on my list. One thing that I do try and do that I know benefits me is reading your comments and responding to your comments. They give me such a boost. They Hearing about other people's journey, and I do say to them, please keep me posted. People that have started on this, and they're nervous, they don't know how it's going to go. I'll always say, keep me posted, because I'm genuinely interested. We're in this together. We're on the same path. We're trying to achieve the same things. We've maybe come from similar starting points. So reading your stories is just as inspiring to me as maybe you watching some of my videos and liking some of the stuff that I say and do. So keep the comments coming, because I really do enjoy them. And for me, that's a simple thing. So when I say keep it simple, that's a simple thing for me. I know that doing that, and sometimes there's quite a lot of comments, and, it's a lot of responses. And I try not to just like fire off, oh, thanks, that's great. Sometimes, sometimes they are quite simple, um, but I will try and, put a bit of thought into it. But it makes me feel better. And everyone's response to what happened to me in Chicago, that one incident, and it was an isolated incident. Chicago is a great city. I lived there for 10 years and I loved it. So that was an isolated incident. But all of your comments made me feel so much better, and actually pushed me out of that feeling sorry for myself mode. So I really want to thank you all for that. But as a bit of a recap here, my 5 things that I try and do on a day-to-day basis are sleep, planning my day, food, making each day count, and keeping it simple. Those are the 5 tips and tricks that I use to keep myself focused and moving forward. They might not work for you. You might have 5 better ones, or ones that work for you in a different way. And that's great. But we're all individuals. And that's the thing that I can't stress enough, is that what's working for somebody might not work for you, but it's worth listening to and considering, because we can all learn from each other. So the only other thing I would say is, in relation to Manjaro, in relation to your five priorities for the day, your in relation to anything in your life, is give yourself permission to adjust as you go along. Permission to adjust your dose, permission to adjust what you're eating, permission to adjust how you're handling this, permission to adjust your work schedule or what you tell people, or just your overall approach. You know, I'm quite dogmatic, or I used to be quite dogmatic, and I've tried to let that go so that I can relax more into this journey. And the longer I go on this, the more relaxed I feel about it. So I've gone on longer than I wanted to again. But I just wanted to get this out today, because I was thinking about it of what am I doing on a day-to-day basis, and just those five things, they came to me as being my priorities for how I can go about this and make my journey as successful as possible. Because like I said, we're all here to lose the weight. My goal is to lose the weight and keep it off forever. That's my plan. So, right, I'm going to leave it here. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you like the new background. Better than a white wall. I still need to work on lighting. That's the next thing that I'm going to be focused on, is getting the lighting better in here. But thanks very much for joining me today. And if you've made it to the end, thanks very much again. Bye-bye.